Hi everyone, welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Mummy and Me Tutorials. So we're continuing with Unequal Sharing today. Yes? Would you like to read?
Sure. Ethan and Eli decided to sell donuts. Altogether, the two brothers sold 8,610 donuts. However, if Ethan sold 134 donuts less than Eli, calculate how many donuts were sold by Eli.
Wow, that's a lot of donuts. At least they didn't eat that amount of donuts. Where do you think they got all these donuts from?
I think they baked it.
They baked them themselves? Okay, all right. Budding entrepreneurs. So Ethan and Eli wanted to sell donuts, all right? And altogether, they both sold
8,610 donuts.
Okay, so how many donuts did Ethan sell?
We know that Ethan sold 134 donuts less than Eli.
Okay, what does that mean though? Can we rephrase that? Is there another way of stating that?
Well, if Ethan sold 134 donuts less than Eli, that means that Eli sold 134 donuts more than Ethan.
Okay, so let's put this into a simpler example. How many pens do you have?
I have 5 pens.
All right, show them 5 pens. That's 5 pens. And I have this amount of pens. But I can say I have 3 less pens than you have.
Because you have 2 pens.
I have 2 pens, but I can say I have 3 less pens than you have.
That also means, however, that I have 3 more pens than Mommy has.
So who has more pens?
I have more pens.
And who has less amount of pens?
Mommy has less amount of pens.
Yes, I only have 2 pens.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. They're fun. I have blue. I love blue. You have funky colors.
That's my favorite.
All right. So, So Ethan has sold some amount of donuts and Eli sold some amount of donuts plus
134
more than Ethan. Okay, so let's say that again. Make sure we understand that. So how many donuts did Ethan sell? Some amount.
Some amount.
Okay. And how many donuts did Eli sell?
Eli sold some amount, which is Ethan's amount.
Right.
Plus an additional 134 more than Ethan.
So remember, guys, the question said Ethan sold 134 donuts less than Eli. Another way of saying that is that Eli sold 134 more donuts than Ethan. Okay. So in unequal sharing, what is our first step? Oh, and by the way, both of these shares, both of these amounts, so Ethan's share plus the amount of donuts that Eli sold must add up to
the 8,610 donuts, which is the total.
Okay. So in unequal sharing, what is our first step?
Our first step is to identify who sold the lesser amount of donuts.
So let's go back to our example with our pens. You have 5 pens. I have 3 less pens than you. Or you have 3 more pens
than you.
Great. So I have the lesser amount. Now going back to Ethan and Eli, Eli has 134 donuts more
than Ethan.
So who has a smaller, who sold the smaller amount of donuts?
Ethan. If Eli sold more, Ethan sold the lesser amount of donuts.
Hence, an unequal sharing. What is the rule?
Assign the symbol, which in this case, we will use a box, and we are assigning a box to Ethan.
So we always assign a symbol to who? Which person?
The person who sold the lesser amount of donuts, in this case.
Or in any other question, the person that has the lesser amount of shares of anything, fruits, snacks, money,
vegetables,
pens. I've seen pens. Yes. So we are assigning the symbol to Ethan because he has a smaller amount, or a smaller share, or he sold the smaller amount of donuts. Okay. So what is our second step?
Our second step is to calculate how many donuts Eli sold.
So how many donuts did Eli sell?
Well, so far we gathered that Eli sold 134 more donuts than Ethan.
Okay, so that's how much he sold. So how much did Ethan sell? Some unknown amount, and we represented that by a box. So Ethan has a box.
A box.
Hence, Eli was sold the same amount as Ethan plus an additional
134.
Hence, Eli sold
Ethan's share, which is a box, plus his 134 more donuts.
Great. So what we're saying that Ethan's share looks like this, and Eli's share is represented like this. Box plus 134. Okay. In unequal sharing, what is our third step? What do we do next?
Our third step is to build the relationship.
What does that mean?
That means to put together our shares.
Okay. So Ethan has some amount,
which is a
Eli
box.
has
one box plus 134.
But we know that altogether Ethan's share plus
Eli's share
must add up to
8,610.
Okay. So that if we add them up together, what do we get?
One box plus one box is equal to 2 boxes.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So Ethan sold this amount of donuts. Eli sold
box plus 134.
Right, so Ethan sold this amount of donuts and Eli sold this amount of donuts, and this is how we represent it. And then we add it together and we know that they must add up to
8,610 donuts.
Great. So now if you have a box and I have a box, cardboard boxes,
Yes.
yes, shoe boxes,
Those are fun.
yeah. We can store things in shoe boxes. We can recycle.
Shoes.
Reuse. Okay. So if you have a box and I have a box all together, how many boxes do we have?
Well, if you have one box and I have one box, 1 plus 1 is 2 boxes.
So box plus box equals to
2 boxes.
Great. So 2 boxes plus 134 must add up to
8,610.
Great. Donuts.
Donuts.
Donuts. Okay. So this is okay so far?
Yes.
Yes. What is our next step?
Step 4. Remove or minus the extra from the total.
What is extra and what is total?
The extra would be the additional 134 donuts that Eli received than Ethan.
Not received, sold donuts.
Sold.
So we have 2 shares, Ethan and Eli. We have 2 persons. And Eli sold 134 more donuts. Hence, I see extra amount. And the total is the total amount of donuts that they sold
all together.
So we need to remove into minus. We need to take away this extra from the total. So this now becomes
2 boxes.
Right. So that's these 2 boxes here. Make sure we understand. Yes, same 2 boxes equal to
the total minus the extra, which is 8,610 minus 134, and 2 boxes equal to 8,476 donuts.
So this is the remainder.
Yes.
So the total minus the extra give us a remainder. So 2 boxes now equal to
8,476.
Okay, donuts.
Donuts.
That must be shared equally between
Ethan and Eli.
Okay. Let's look at step 5. What is step 5?
Divide the remainder by the number of equal shares.
What is the remainder?
The remainder is equal to 8,476.
And how many equal shares do we have?
2 equal shares.
Okay, and 2 equal shares because Ethan and Eli are the 2
persons.
persons. Great. So we have to take this remainder and divide by 2. And what will we get?
8,476 divided by 2, and that is box. That will equal to box. Hence, box is equal to 4,238.
Correct. So what does this mean? What does this box mean? That means that
Ethan sold one box, which is equal to 4,238 donuts.
all right. So now we know how many donuts that Ethan sold. Now, can we calculate how many donuts Eli sold?
Well, if Eli sold Ethan's box plus 134 more, and we know one box is 4,238, we add the additional amount that Eli sold, which would be 134 donuts, and Eli sold 4,372 donuts.
So what you're saying is box represents
4,238 donuts.
Because this is how much Ethan has, that amount represents how many donuts Ethan sold. And how many donuts did Eli sell? Same box, which is same 4,238 big numbers plus his additional amount. Because remember, he sold 134 donuts more than Ethan. So plus that 134 gives us 4,372 donuts. So let's put this together now. So Ethan sold this amount of donuts and this is how much Eli sold, which was the 4,238 plus 134 equals to
4,372 donuts.
But we also know that the amount of donuts that Ethan sold plus the amount of donuts that
Eli sold
must
give us a total of 8,610 donuts.
So parents, this is how we can double check our kids' answers. We have to ensure that when we add up Ethan's amount of donuts that he sold to the amount of donuts that Eli sold, we have to get back the original amount. And the original amount is the 8610 or 8,610, which is how many donuts that the two brothers sold all together. Okay, so it's a good way to double check our answers to ensure we didn't make any mistakes or anything. Yeah, great. So what did the question ask us?
The question asked us to calculate how many donuts were sold by Eli.
Did we calculate that?
Yes, we did.
So how many donuts did Eli sell?
Eli sold 4,372 donuts, and that is the answer.
So that's our answer there. So this is how many donuts Eli sold. Wow, that's impressive though. He has some great selling skills. That's his charm, his natural charm. So we also have a part B. Read part B.
If 1/4 of Eli's donuts were sold to his neighbors.
Wow, he sold 1/4 to his neighbors?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
How many of his donuts were sold to his friends at school?
All right. So recap. Remember that Ethan sold
4,238 donuts.
Remember that Eli sold
4,372 donuts.
Whew, those are big numbers. So let's look at our diagrams. Make sure we remember that Ethan sold that amount, Eli sold same amount as Ethan plus 134 extra. So just recapping that. This is how much Ethan sold, this is how much Eli sold, and they added up to 8,610. Good. Now, we have to do what next? What's our next step?
Well, step 7 is to calculate the amount of donuts Eli sold to his friends at school.
Okay, so how do we do that? I don't know. You have to help me out.
Well, if Eli sold 4,372 donuts in total, and we know the fraction he sold to his neighbors was 1/4.
Okay.
We need to find out the remainder.
So he sold 1/4 to his neighbors.
That is so nice of him.
really? Well, I think that's so nice of his neighbors to purchase 1/4. He has some neighbors that love donuts, girl. Or maybe he has lots of neighbors.
I mean,
I don't know. So 1/4 of his donuts was sold to neighbors. What does that mean? How many or what fraction did he sell to his friends at school then?
that means that the remainder, which would be the fraction sold to his friends at school, will be the total, the total or entire fraction, which would be 4/4
Right.
minus the 1/4 or 1/4 he sold to his neighbors.
So that's that 1/4 from here.
Yes.
From the question.
Yes.
Okay. So why do you say the total is 4/4 though? Why do you say
Because
that?
If
In
our
fractions, yes.
Yes. So if in the number 1/4, our
Right.
denominator is 4,
So the denominator is 4. What does that mean?
that means that
It's broken up
it's
into
broken up into 4 equal pieces.
That's right. So the whole would be 4
Pieces.
pieces. So that's the total. Okay. So the total is 4 divided by 4 minus 1/4.
1/4.
And how much do we get?
Well, we're going to minus our numerators first, and since our denominators are the same,
Yes.
they will be remained like that.
It remains the same.
Yes.
4. Okay.
So 4 minus 1 is 3, and our denominator is 4.
Okay.
So Eli sold 3/4 of his donuts to his friends at school.
Wow, that's a lot. Wow. Some donut loving friends. So let's calculate now. So how many donuts did Eli sell to his friends at school?
3/4 of, which means to multiply by Eli's total amount of donuts he sold, which was 4,372.
Okay, so let's cancel off.
4 divided by 4 is 1.
Right.
4 divided by 4,372 is 1,093.
Wow, there's a lot of numbers.
I'm handling the large numbers.
And what do you do next?
3 multiplied by 1,093 will give you 3,279 donuts.
Wow. So this is the amount of donuts that Eli sold to his friends at school. So he sold 3/4 of this amount of donuts, and it worked out to 3,279 donuts. What did the question ask us?
How many of his donuts were sold to his friends at school?
So did we answer the question?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
The
And he
answer
sold-
is 3,279 donuts.
Great. So this question was a mix of unequal sharing and fractions. That's good.
So we are recapping a little on our season 1, which was based on fractions.
Great. We hope you've enjoyed this episode and that you've learned from it. Yes, it
Yes.
seems we helped someone.
I hope you guys understand clearly.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.